1980s footage of an F-15 being tracked and engaged by SAM radar versus modern high-res CGI of an F-22 slicing through daylight sky with zero radar turns on a simulated scope. Cut to real recent flight tracker data, showing F-22s ferrying into the Middle East in clear blue skies. On paper, this deployment shouldn't work the way it does. For 50 years, the physics of radar said the same thing. A fighter jet the size of a barn door will light up an enemy radar screen from 100 miles away. The radar equation is merciless. Detection range scales with the fourth root of the target's radar cross-section. Make your jet 1,000 times smaller on radar, and suddenly the enemy can't see you until you're practically on top of them. Yet here we are in 2026. The United States has moved F-22 Raptors, F-35 Lightning IIs, and F-18 Super Hornets into forward positions across the Middle East in broad daylight, while adversaries with some of the world's most advanced surface-to-air missiles watch the skies. Eyes can see them. Radar apparently cannot. Today, we're breaking down exactly why these three very different aircraft can pull off what looks like an engineering contradiction. Secret operations in plain sight. Map animation showing U.S. deployments to Prince Sultan AB Saudi, Muwafaq Saudi Jordan, Ovda Israel, and carrier flight decks of USS Ford and Lincoln. Overlay recent headlines on Iran tensions and Operation Epic Fury. The driver is brutally simple: modern air defenses. Countries like Iran have invested heavily in integrated air defense systems that can, in theory, detect and engage low-observable targets. To maintain air superiority and deter escalation, the U.S. needs aircraft that can penetrate those networks without announcing their arrival hours in advance. Enter a mixed fleet. The F-22 for pure air dominance, the F-35 for multi-role stealth strike and sensor fusion, and the F-18 as the workhorse that provides numbers, carrier flexibility, and electronic attack support. The combination lets the U.S. project power rapidly, even when satellite imagery and flight trackers make the movement technically visible. Animated electromagnetic waves, sine waves, hitting a conventional aircraft shape, chaotic reflections bouncing straight back to the radar. Side-by-side comparison with a stealth shape, deflecting waves at 90 degrees angles away from the emitter. Real radar scope footage of legacy jets versus simulated stealth returns. Let's go to first principles. A radar sends out radio waves and listens for the echo. The strength of that echo is governed by the target's radar cross-section, RCS. Not its physical size, but its effective reflecting area. A clean F/A-18 Super Hornet has an RCS of roughly 1 square meter, about the size of a large car door. An early F-15 was closer to 5 square meters. Now apply the radar range equation. Maximum detection range is proportional to RCS to the power of 1/4. Cut the RCS by a factor of 10,000, and detection range drops by a factor of 10. That is the entire game. The F-22's frontal RCS is publicly estimated at around 0.0001 square meters, roughly the size of a small marble. The F-35 sits between 0.001 and 0.005 square meters, golf ball territory. Even a non-stealth F/A-18 benefits from later upgrades, serpentine engine ducts, radar-absorbing coatings on the leading edges, and reduced vertical stabilizer count in the Super Hornet variant. But physics doesn't let you cheat for free. Slow motion exploded 3D model of F-22 showing planform alignment, all leading and trailing edges parallel. Internal weapons bays, S-duct inlets hiding compressor blades. Side by side with F-35's more curvaceous planform alignment light and ram tile application. Cut to F/A-18 with partial stealth features highlighted. The breakthrough came in the 1970s ADS with two complementary ideas: shaping and absorption. Shaping. Every flat surface or right-angle corner acts like a mirror for radar waves. Engineers aligned every edge on the F-22 so that any reflection is bounced away from the emitter, not back. The wings, tails, and even the canopy frames are all parallel. The F-35 uses softer curves, but still follows the same planform alignment rule. Radar-absorbent material RAM. These are iron, carbon, or ceramic-loaded coatings that turn electromagnetic energy into heat instead of reflection. They're applied like high-tech paint, but they are extremely finicky. Moisture, heat cycles, and bird strikes all degrade performance. Add internal weapons bays, no external stores to scatter waves, serpentine air duct that hide the shiny turbine blades, and careful attention to every rivet and seam, and you get an aircraft whose radar return is smaller than a bird. The F-22 adds something extra. Super Cruise. It can sustain Mach 1.5 plus without afterburners because its thrust vectoring nozzles and inlet design were optimized around stealth and efficiency. A rare double win. The F-18, it's the reality check. It will never be marble size on radar, but paired with A-18G Growlers jamming enemy radars, it forces a defender to solve two problems at once. Graph of F-35 program cost overruns versus capability delivered. Maintenance crew in a climate-controlled hangar painstakingly replacing ram tiles. Side-by-side fuel burn comparison. F-22 Super Cruise versus conventional fighter. Here's where the skepticism comes in. Stealth is not magic. Those ram coatings must be reapplied after every few sorties in harsh desert environments. The F-35's maintenance hours per flight hour are still higher than legacy jets. The F-22 fleet is tiny, only about 180 ever built, because each one costs roughly $150 million and production line was shut down. Aerodynamically, the obsession with edge alignment force compromises. The F-35's wing is a little thicker than ideal for pure speed, trading a bit of drag for stealth. The F-22 sacrificed some internal volume to keep the shape clean, and daylight itself, visual and infrared signatures, are not reduced to the same degree. The jets rely on speed, altitude, electronic warfare, and the fact that modern surface-to-air missiles still need a solid radar track to guide the final intercept. Eyes and basic optics are not enough when the jet is moving at 1,000 plus mph at 30,000 feet. Final montage, F-22, F-35, and F/A-18 in formation over desert terrain at golden hour. Cut to cost infographic. F-35 program lifetime cost greater than $1.7 trillion. Then hopeful shot of next-gen NGAD concept art. So is this capability viable for the future? Yes, but only because the U.S. is willing to pay an enormous premium for it. The F-35 program alone is the most expensive weapon system in history. Every marble-sized RCS comes with a price tag measured in tens of millions per aircraft and ongoing logistical headaches. The real lesson isn't that stealth makes aircraft invisible. It's that clever engineers found a way to bend the radar equation just enough to change the rules of engagement, while accepting massive compromises elsewhere. In the end, these deployments in broad daylight are the ultimate proof that human ingenuity can push right up against the hard limits of physics, but never quite escape them. The laws of electromagnetism still apply. We just learned how to make the echo disappear. Thanks for watching. If you want a deep dive on the Next Generation Air Dominance program or the material science behind the latest RAM, drop a comment. Hit subscribe. We're just getting started.